Welcome to the PropHero podcast. I'm Jessie Peters, Head of Product Growth here at PropHero, and this week I spoke with Stephane Leblond, one of our in-house property coaches. Stephane shares why the waiting game is hurting first-time investors and gives his predictions for the biggest hotspots this year. I hope you enjoy this episode, and thanks so much for listening. Thank you for joining us, Stephane, on the PropHero podcast. Could you just start by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about what you do for us here at PropHero?
Of course. Well, thanks, Jess, for having me today. So I'm Stephane Leblond. I'm one of the buyer's agents at PropHero. So obviously we call ourselves property coaches. So basically I'm at the front hand with the clients looking for the perfect property for them, really. So I'm doing basically all the work making sure the investment property that we're buying for our clients are the best one.
When you think about PropHero, what does it mean to you?
PropHero is there to build wealth for our clients. Okay, so we're really here to help our clients. And again, we're not here for them to buy one property and we don't see our clients after that. This is a long-term relationships that we have with them. And it's for them to buy, the first one, getting them the second, the third, and the fourth, and so on. So it's going to be a long journey, and that's what property investment is. It's a long journey, and we're there to help our clients at each step of the process.
So it's really interesting hearing how we definitely help people buy more than one property. What would you say is your best tip for a first-time investor?
First-time investor, there is something that we call, I personally call the waiting game. Okay, so it's very important as a first-time investor not to wait. There's obviously a lot of talk in the media. People read a lot of things online about, market crashing. We are the peak of the market, and there's going to be a correction. And in reality, the market doesn't crash. There is no correction, and no one can predict the future, right? So there's been a talk back in 2018 where the market was supposed to crash. Actually, the market went up by 10%, in that year. So I think it's very important to know that there is no perfect time, to get into the market. You just have to be in the market. If it's going to be a long-term investment property over the 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, there's going to be a lot of market cycle in that time, and you will see the rewards down the track. Okay, so it's very important to understand that you go buy a property, and then you can play the waiting game once you have a property, and then you will see the rewards down the track. It's very important.
Have you had to have any conversations with clients to get them to understand that, so that they may think that now's not the right time, but you've got a really great property that you want to share with them? How do you coach them through that process?
Absolutely. Well, it's not just a single conversation, it's several conversations with a lot of our clients. I'm just going to take an example back in 2022, towards the end of 22. So obviously interest rates were going up. A lot of people were concerned about that, and they just wanted to wait. I'm just going to wait because obviously interest rate can go a bit higher. Well, I'm just going to wait until they're going to decrease down the track so I can just purchase a property. We've told some our clients, investors, this is a good time to get into the market, okay? Because there's obviously a lot of concern, around that market at the moment. A lot of people who actually, clients who actually listen to us and bought properties at that time, 12 months down the track, some of them have already made, 80, 100K equity in the property. So for those who actually bought those properties at that time, if we had to pick a time, this was the perfect time. Again, that's just a bit of luck there, but again, you have to be in the market. Again, if you leave the money in the bank, you've got high inflation, technically you're losing money every year, and it's just difficult to get that money back, because at the pace that the market is increasing, your salary is not going to increase as much. So technically, in 1, 2, or 3 years, if you're not in the market, you have to pay more to purchase a property. So you're always behind, and you always hear people, well, I'm priced out of the market. Simple reason, because when they've got an opportunity to get in, they don't, and they just wait. And I call this the waiting game. Just go into market, buy a property, and then play that waiting game.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, because some people keep saving for a deposit and they're perpetually saving because prices keep going up. So if you have the cash, now is the best time.
Correct.
So let's flip it a little bit. So you've given us tips now for first-time investors. What would you say are some of the biggest pitfalls people need to know about before they invest?
Well, before they invest and even when they're going to invest and purchase a property, I think the big one is not to do a building-based inspection on a property. This is the big one because you want to know what you're going to buy. Okay, you're purchasing a property. Okay, it's a lot of money. And we understand that at PropHero, and that's the reason why we're here to protect our clients at all costs. And with that being said, we do building-based inspection. We review everything for our clients in order for them to purchase the property, the peace of mind, they're buying a quality home, and they're not going to find, themselves with a lemon. That's obviously what we call it. So make sure they've got the right property. So yeah, a big one is to do a building-based inspection. If you compete with another offer, because someone is happy to submit an offer and that's an unconditional offer, that's okay. And they could buy a property full of termites, and it's up to them. So a big one would be doing a building-based inspection on the property. It's very important.
So you mentioned termites. What would be the biggest deal breaker for you to come back after a building and pest inspection?
The termite would definitely be a deal breaker if they touching the building, because they could spread everywhere in the house, and you're not going to know until you're going to remove walls and see what's behind it. So for us, obviously, termites is a big deal. Any structural issues, obviously we're trying to resolve it with the vendor if there's an option to do so. If it's too risky, or if there's any, if there's 1% risk in that property, we're not going to purchase the property and we'll move on to the next one. For us, it's vital as a business, and we're here to help our clients at all costs and protecting them at all costs. So we don't have any issue with crashing a deal if there is, even 1% of uncertainty on that property.
It's very good to know. So we pride ourselves here at PropHero for using data and AI to identify properties. When you think of the future of investing within 5 years or 10 years, where do you see property investment? What trends do you see as popping up into the future?
I think there's obviously, we're a data company, there's a lot of talk with AI and, obviously what's going to happen over the next few years. My vision is everything would be digital. And basically that's what we're trying to achieve here, is to have a model where we basically click a couple of buttons on an app, and you just basically do everything, from getting your finance, building a business inspection, refinancing, purchasing a property. It would be just a couple of clicks, and then you've got a property. So we want to make it as easy as we can for our clients, just to look at one property. I want to buy it, couple of clicks, and it's done and dusted. And I think this would be the future of property investment, not just for PropHero, but in the overall market.
Thanks so much, Stephane. So what are the most common investment strategies you come across?
Yeah, so we've got 3 different type of strategies at PropHero. So the first one, we have the capital investment strategy. So capital investment strategy is really focusing on the capital growth over the long term. So typically, this would be a freestanding house, with some lands available with it in the main cities. Obviously, we can't disclose too many things on the area, but obviously in the main cities. We've got the yield. Obviously, so yield. This is focusing on high rental return. Obviously, more on regional areas. So obviously, going to regional. You sacrifice, a bit of the capital growth component, being a regional area, but you get compensated by, the high rental yield. And we have what we call a hybrid. Okay, so typically this would be a 10 house in the main cities, and this is basically a balance of the two. Okay, you get, good capital growth, not as much as if you are going for a capital investment strategy. You also get a strong rental yield, so not as much as a yield investment, but you get basically a balance of the two.
What are some of the hottest untapped locations for investors, Stephane?
We obviously have a few different locations available at PropHero. One of them would be Brisbane, and there's a few different factors for that. The first one would be because there's obviously a strong migration, so coming from interstate and then overseas. Brisbane will also have the Brisbane Olympics in 2032. So when you think about that, there's going to be a lot of money spent by the government on infrastructures. With that being said, there will be obviously job creation, people going to the States to live in, and as a result, you have a lot of demand and limited supply, which over time, push the price, to go up. So this is a key factor for us.
Okay, that's great to know. So let's wrap up with your investment predictions for 2024.
We believe the market is still going to go up. Obviously, there's a lot of people looking for properties currently. We can see this in the market. I think when we're going to see interest rates, starting to drop whenever it might be. I mean, there's obviously a lot of talk around mid 2024 that could happen. In that case, we'll probably see more people in the market. And again, there's going to be a lot of demand, and another one, there's not enough properties available for investors. So, and as a result, we strongly believe that the market will keep going up. Again, that's a prediction. No one has a crystal ball what's going to happen. But yeah, if I have to predict on something here, we strongly believe the market will still going up. Not in every areas, I have to mention that, but obviously, as long as we have the data that can support everything that we do for our clients, then we're happy with that. And yeah.
No, that's great. Thank you very much, Stephane, for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.